Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode here at Facebook Live, the Real Podcast. I'm your host, David Moya, and I'm here with Schenck of Three Lagoons Realty. I'm also here with Bret Schanzenbach, CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber. Thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. So, Bret, your time, we thank you for it. How did you get started in the chamber?
Well, I started initially. I was actually like Megan. I was a realtor in my home community, and when I went into the real estate industry, I don't know how I knew, but somehow I knew that the important thing to do was to join the chamber, and so I did. My local chamber at that time, and I got involved. I joined a couple of committees and got active. Started networking and. And eventually through that process, I got invited to be on the board of directors. I ended up chairing the board. But then through a process, the gentleman who was the executive at the time decided to move back to Michigan, where he and his wife were from, get ready for retirement. And real estate wasn't so great at the time, to be honest, back in 2008. And I decided it might be time for something different.
Nice.
So I switched from being a board member to being a staff member, and just fell in love with the industry, fell in love with the business, and it's been 11. I'm in I think my 12th year now in the chamber industry.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. And so this journey, right, getting into your position now. That you said started like 11 years ago?
Yeah, well, even more, but yeah, I've been this is my 12th year working in the chamber industry.
Nice. And then how long ago did you make the jump to the Carlsbad Chamber?
So I'm relatively new to the Carlsbad Chamber. I just arrived here in January, and that was after, 10 great years in Vista, which was my home community. But I'm really excited to be here in Carlsbad and be part of everything going on here. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's nearby, right? I mean Vista would be considered like a sister city to Carlsbad, right? So
for sure,
similar towns.
I'm a North County kid. I grew up in Vista my whole life. My wife and I have lived in North County almost our entire marriage. So this was when this opportunity came up. With the retirement of the previous CEO, Ted Owen. So this opportunity popped up, and I'm super grateful and excited that the board selected me to come in and be part of it.
Yeah. Well,
nice. Now is that like do you have to necessarily be a part of a chamber to then be in a role like you are now, or is it something like any business owner can apply for and hopefully start to be in a similar position?
So this is a paid staff position. Our board of directors are made up of volunteer business people in the local community. But when you switch from being a board member to being a staff member, it's sometimes I get the question, well, what do you do? What's your day job? This is my day job. This is what I do full time. I don't have anything else on the side that I work with, but this is it. This is my full-time gig.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit about the chamber, the Carlsbad Chamber. What is the mission at the Carlsbad Chamber? And we're excited to learn.
Sure. So, one of the things I'm excited about the Carlsbad Chamber is just the role it plays regionally, the role it plays regionally as an economic driver and an economic engine for our region. And our role here at the chamber is we talk about the 3 C's, like the letter C, and when we talk about our role. And so number 1 is to be an economic catalyst for the region, and Carlsbad, the community in Carlsbad does a great job of that, and we see our role in the chamber as being very important in that role, and I'll talk about that in a second. So to be an economic catalyst. Number 2 is to be, the chamber's role is to be a convener of all the major leaders and players players in a community. Everybody talks about for a community to thrive, you need a village. Well, it's very true. And so the chamber works to convene all of those different leaders in the village, so to speak, to come together and to make things thrive. And then number three, the third C is to be a champion, and we're a champion for our local community. So the chamber works as an economic catalyst, a convener of all the business, civic, and community leaders, and then a champion for our community. And so we love playing that role and doing that in our community, and then also, as I mentioned just a little bit, in the region as well. And I'm happy to expound on any of that you want to hear more about.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. So maybe just an example of what activity you have for each, right? So, the first one being a catalyst for economic growth, right? So maybe an example of that, and just kind of go through the three, if you could.
Sure. And let me if you don't mind, I'll share a little bit about why Carlsbad's such a unique community and what it represents to the whole region, and then I can kind of share how the chamber plays a role in that as well. Yeah. So one of the things I love about Carlsbad is, a couple of things. Number one, we have a vibrant and large business, industrial, commercial district. We have over 15 million square feet of industrial space in our business park. And, all of North County started out as little bedroom communities. We were just places that people lived, and then people would commute into work, and maybe if you were a teacher in that community, you got to work in your same community. But that was back in the 60s and 70s. And then North County started to become an actual communities of commerce, communities of industry. And so now Carlsbad has over 15 million square feet of industrial space, and which is the most amongst our neighbors here on the 78 corridor, and is like third most in the entire county. The only one that has more, the only little sub areas that have more industrial space than we have is Miramar, and Otay Mesa has a little bit more than we do when it comes to industrial space. So we are a major industrial player in the county of San Diego. And of course, there's certain names that come to mind when people think about that, names like Viasat, Thermo Fisher, but there's a lot more than just those. A lot of people are familiar with our action sports industry up here in Carlsbad, with all the golf companies that are here, and then tech companies as well, companies like GoPro and Walmart Labs and all of those. So we have a thriving industrial commercial area. But then you couple that with our tourism industry. Carlsbad generates the second highest number of dollars in tourism in the entire county. Just behind San Diego itself, of course, would be number one. Well, we're number two. We have over 40 hotels and growing. So for instance, there's 3 more hotels being actively built as we speak. And so we have a lot of tourism, and partly we have to thank Legoland for, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary here in Carlsbad. And if we look back over the last 20 years with the number of hotels that have popped up on the Palomar Airport corridor since Legoland since Legoland came in, the number is quite staggering. And so we have a whole thriving tourism industry here in Carlsbad. Obviously, our proximity to the beach, but Legoland. And then we're close to all kinds of great attractions in San Diego, or going north, say, to Disneyland and et cetera. So you couple those two together, and that is a very unique situation. There's not another city in the entire county, except for the city of San Diego, that has those two things: thriving, substantial amount of industry, and then tourism that's so strong. And that just positions us to be a really strong economic engine and an economic linchpin to all of North County. We tens of thousands of people come to work every day in Carlsbad in one of our industries or another, and rely upon our area for employment. So So that's exciting. That's what gets me excited about being here, and that's what gets me excited about my role here in the chamber, and the role we get to play. So
yeah, that's exciting. Gets me excited.
I know.
yeah,
It's like I live here, Megan lives here, and we both work here as well. And just kind of hearing that, I mean, I feel like Megan, you can probably chime in on this too, but like I feel like I see that all the time. But when you mention it and tell me like these facts, I'm like, wow, it just makes me more proud to be where I live.
Yeah, I agree completely. So, and it's a good reminder. We, get caught up in the everyday and go. So it's nice to hear these stats and information and learn, more about it too. Cause like, wow, we are a pretty awesome town.
you're right. No, you're 100% right. And I know it sounds like, oh, we're patting ourselves on the back, but no, I mean, there's a lot of phenomenal things that have been done right here to create that. And the city's done some good things, but the chamber needs to get some credit too. And the reason I say that is because the Chamber of Commerce has been in Carlsbad for 96 years. Wow. So that's 30 years longer than the city's even been incorporated. So for 30 years before the city even had a structure, the chamber was here helping lay the groundwork for this successful community that we were just sharing about a little bit there and in the moments preceding. So that gets me fired up. So
yeah,
I would love to.
I see the fire.
Yeah, man. So I would love to share a couple of the things that you talked about at the beginning, like when I was mentioning the 3 C's and how the chamber does those. So if you're cool with it, I'll roll.
Yeah, we'd love that, right?
Yeah. So so first talking about an economic catalyst. So the chamber works on several different levels to serve as that economic catalyst. And you guys alluded to a little bit before we jumped on live together, but also since we started, there are a lot of different chambers of commerce around. Pretty much every local community has its own chamber. And so a lot of people want to know, what makes us unique, what makes us different, and why should somebody, let's say they own a business in San Marcos, let's say they own a business in Encinitas, why should they join the Carlsbad Chamber? First of all, I would recommend they join their local chamber. I have to give props to all my local chambers because there's like 43 of us in the county of San Diego alone, believe it or not. But the Carlsbad Chamber is the second biggest chamber in the county behind the city of San Diego. We are the number 2 chamber, and we're the 10th biggest in the state of California. And I believe Megan mentioned that last week when you guys did an interview, and we're talking a little bit about the chamber. So thank you, Megan, for mentioning that. But one of the things we do really well, and this comes back to being that economic catalyst, but one of the things we do really well is really high quality networking events. And I realize that there are a lot of different ways that people can network these days, including social media and meetups, and there's lead groups and things, and those are valid, nothing wrong with that. But we're very strong on our networking events, and we have monthly morning breakfast networking events that Megan was just at last Friday. Yeah. We have after hours evening networking events for those people who aren't morning people. We have lunchtime networking events. We got it all covered, and we have great attendance. We'll have 85 to 100 people at any one of those. And so we're very strong on providing opportunities for people to grow their business network and create more referral channels. So that's a big deal to us in the chamber. Ultimately, we want to connect people to do business together because we believe our community, our region, our area will be stronger if we do business together. Yeah, you can find somebody on the internet in LA who could print something for you, or yeah, you could find somebody, over here who could do that. But if you get to know and do business with your neighbor, then that's going to help the jobs stay local. That's going to help profits stay local. That's going to help everybody, do better, and that's just to the benefit of the whole community. So we're all about that.
Regarding your breakfast series, Megan, I mean, I've known Megan for quite some time now, and it's like I'd be like, "Oh, where are you going? Today?" And she's like, "At this great morning series, and so speaking." And then I just saw the pictures on Facebook, and that looked like such a cool individual coming to talk, and it doesn't seem boring. Every time I see pictures or Megan tells me about them, it's just like, wow, this seems different. Normally, events can get a little stale if they're done repeatedly, but your breakfast series seems to be pretty a good hit.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Megan give a little shout out about last week. We had Kelly Cardenas on Friday. Kelly, was that boring?
No,
Megan, was that boring?
I am so impressed. He has more energy at 7 a.m. than I do at 10 cups of coffee. He has got passion, energy. I mean, no one yawned.
Wow.
No one blinked. No one got up it was focused because he grabbed your attention. I mean, It was awesome. And he's an amazing speaker and just an overall wonderful person. He supports our community like crazy. And so a huge shout out to Kelly because he's awesome. But no, he's a wonderful speaker. And all the speakers, they intentionally pick different topics and how to better yourself professionally or personally. And you guys do a fantastic job bringing quality people on that really help you and benefit you, both personally and professionally. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I agree with you. He's got all kinds of energy, and it was great. And so we love highlighting local leaders, local thought leaders, local business leaders, who could come in and share their gifts, share their talents, and with our folks. But then at the end of the day, he's also still a business, right? We can go to his hair salon and get a haircut and
help support him.
Yeah.
And if you can fire up after hearing him talk, I don't know what will get you.
I know. That was great. So that's one little way that we act as a catalyst. There are others. For instance, our Green Business Expo that we hosted in April. Great event. We had 250 plus people who came to learn. We had like 40 vendors who all were displaying different forms of sustainable products or sustainable services. We had panel discussions there that were well attended, and 250 to 300 attendees who came through to get exposure to and it was held at the Flower Fields in Carlsbad.
Nice.
So another way that we act as an economic catalyst. And then also we're very active with watching different forms of legislation, local, but also at the state level. And, we're just trying to help businesses be able to stay active, thrive. We don't want businesses picking up their shingle and moving, to say Texas or Nevada or something else. So we try to keep a climate that's favorable to business and lets them know that as business owners, they're welcome and loved here in California. So we keep track of things like that. Nice. And so those are a big deal to us. And so there's a lot of different ways that we work as an economic catalyst to try and help our local businesses and our members.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I remind me what this one, write it down, but I would like to. What was the second C that you had mentioned?
Yeah, the second one was as we work as a convener or act as a convener. And a great example of that, we have an event coming up this month on August 23rd called our State of the Community Luncheon. And at that luncheon, we're going to be having guest speaker Mayor Matt Hall from the city of Carlsbad.
Nice.
We will also have Ben Churchill, who's the superintendent of schools for Carlsbad Unified. And then we will also have Claude Jones, who's the senior engineer at Walmart Labs. And they're all going to be sharing different aspects of our community that make our community thrive. So city government, our schools, and then business. And we, at the moment, have about 450 people who have registered to attend that event. Wow. And so I love that because it brings together everybody who's making things happen in this community from every different discipline, from government, education, business, from the nonprofit community, and public safety. They all are going to be coming together at an event like that and getting to network, getting to interact, getting to hear from each other. And I love that role that the chamber gets to play in bringing all those stakeholders together.
And I'm just blown away with the fact of how you guys really play a vital role between just like the businesses, local legislators, like just so many aspects of what makes this community so great. You kind of, I don't know about, Megan, but for me, it really kind of brings everything into perspective in terms of like the value you guys are adding. So, yeah, I mean, thank you for that. I know it's just a kind of a side note, but it's amazing just seeing how active you guys are, what you're doing, the effect you're having on the community, both economically, even just for the local residents who are business owners, and obviously tourism is a big part of what makes this city great. I mean, a lot of the funds that go into that help create our parks and help create different programs, whatnot. So all that, it's cool because you have a hand in that, which is awesome. It's something that you could be proud of.
Yeah, and we take it very seriously because, like you said, all those things come together to make our community what it is. I mean, and I'm sure Megan could chime in on this a little bit too, as a realtor. From my vantage point, realtors are one of the kind of public ambassadors for any given community, because as they deal, like, let's talk about how they deal with buyers, for instance. Buyers come and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about this community or that community. And what do? They start asking questions. Right. How are the schools? How's the crime rate? What's that neighborhood like? I mean, right? I mean, am I right, Megan?
Just this morning before we met, I was handing the keys to a family that just moved here from New Jersey, who's got twin daughters. Okay, what summer camps can I get into? What's a soccer league? Hey, do you know anything about the soccer league? Can you tell me? I'm like, oh, I can tell you. So exactly, you hit the nail on the head. They're coming to us for a home, but more importantly, they're coming to us for a community and a lifestyle and to get plugged in. So I think it's a huge value added. The more I'm involved and can speak to them and give them resources, they are looking to us, again, to find them a home, but also help them get plugged into a community and adjust. So I'm thankful for the chamber because I've learned a ton of businesses and opportunities and people. And so I can give a ton of references to people just like this morning.
Yeah. And and that's a great point. One of the, like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, everybody used to think that the best way to make a community thrive was to attract the perfect business. And we kind of all saw that if you were watching the fiasco around everybody trying to get Amazon's next headquarters into their community, right? Everybody's, let's roll out the red carpet for Amazon. And granted, I mean, if you were the one who captured that opportunity, great. Because yes, you'd have some nice high paying jobs in your community. Yeah. But the reality of the modern worker is really what you need. It's not like you have to go get the right business there for them to have the job. You need to have the right community that they want to be a part of, and they bring their work with them. Because the virtual workers, the people who can work from home, the people who can work remotely, that whole thing has just exploded. And so what we have to create, and what we are keenly aware of at the Chamber, is we have to create a desirable community, like Megan was just talking about, where it's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place, that has good schools. It's a great place for all those different things. And then they'll come and they'll bring their work with them. Yeah. So yeah. We at the Chamber we look holistically at what are all those factors that make this a desirable place to be. What I like to say is our goal at the Chamber is to make this a great place to live, work, play, dine, shop, visit, and vacation. And so that's kind of our mission. We want to make it a place for all of that.
It looks like you have your hands full, right? That's a lot of things to cover.
Yes.
Pretty sure we're taking in all of that.
We can have a show just about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, we kind of talked, I talked about what attracts people to our community. What attracts people to the Chamber?
Yeah, so, chambers, there's a couple different reasons people think of joining a chamber initially. And the main reason is usually because of marketing purposes. Like I talked a little bit about wanting to network, or sometimes it's network physically, but other times it's just to get their brand out there. So they'll want to join, have their membership as part of the chamber, maybe do some advertising through the chamber. One of the things that I share with people a lot is that the chamber adds a level of credibility to people. So even if they don't have time to personally come out and network, their business is such that they don't have that freedom. By joining a chamber and letting their customer base or their community know that they're part of a chamber, their credibility goes up instantly. It's kind of funny, we get calls here at the chamber for all kinds of crazy things. Before the internet was as widespread as we're all used to right now, people used to call 411 to get information on things. A lot of people use the chamber almost like a 411 service, and we get called for the craziest things, and we don't mind. We love being a community resource, but I had once, you would laugh. I had once where somebody literally, this is a literal phone call. Somebody called and said, "Hey, I have a job interview at a hair salon in downtown. Where do I go?" And we were like, "Wait, what? Which hair salon?" "I don't know. I saw it on Craigslist and they said come for an interview." And we're like, "There's like a dozen hair salons in downtown. We don't know where you're supposed to go." Just crazy stuff. But we love it. We love being viewed as a community resource and in that way. And but what happens is people call us all the time for things like, "Hey, I need a plumber. Who do you recommend? Hey, we need to know, we're interested in your community. Who's a realtor we can talk to? Hey, we need to, we're looking for a new printer to do some materials," whatever the case might be. A caterer, we get that call all the time. So even if people don't have a chance to come to events that we put on, by joining the chamber, now we're going to be able to refer them out on a regular basis, because we get walk-ins, phone calls, emails, and then people, of course, on our website constantly looking for resources, constantly looking for referrals. So a lot of people join, to get that exposure for their business, and then those that can utilize all our networking opportunities. But it's usually for marketing. For information is the second reason people join. They want to get resources. I know when I first joined the chamber, initially when I was in business, I met my business banker through the chamber. I met a printing company that I eventually started using for all my marketing materials. I met all these different resources. So that kind of stuff. But then the chamber also puts on, and Megan knows this, but the chamber puts on a lot of informational workshops. So we were just talking this morning at our staff meeting about a series of technology workshops coming up that we're going to be doing over the next several months. We're also doing stuff though on simple things that everybody needs. How to get your emergency preparedness plan ready and up to speed, so the next time we have the wildfires, you're ready. And if they unfortunately come too close to us, you're ready to evacuate and stuff. So helping businesses just be prepared for that kind of stuff as well is just as important as their next marketing gig.
Yeah.
Well, you're like, you have definitely a fun job, but I wouldn't say it's an easy job for sure. You have to juggle a lot of things, and super thankful that you get to share that with us. You're passionate about what you do. What would you attribute your success with the chamber, or even just the chamber itself? What would you attribute that to?
Well, at the end of the day, an organization like this, and a lot of success in business, I think, comes down to just relationship building. I'm very passionate about building relationships, and I believe in being a bridge builder, and I believe in collaboration, and those kinds of things have helped in my chamber life, they helped before, and I'm sure Megan's very good at that as well, which is how she and I got connected. In the real estate world, I know they're important, but I think in most business, it does come down to relationship. I know a lot of people, and I too, I use social media just like anybody, but at the end of the day, I can't get on the internet to get my hair cut, right? So I want to know somebody personally. I mean, I want to have, and yeah, I can look at Yelp and get reviews, but I usually start with people I know before I go to strangers to get referrals, So relationships are so key in just all facets of life, whether you're looking for your mechanic or where to take your family out to dinner, or a recommendation for a vacation. I mean, you name it. Relationships are key.
Well, the relationships between you and your members, but also just the members between members. It's if they have a very valuable relationship, and some people might not know that opportunity exists. So by connecting these individuals and giving them the environment to thrive, to connect, is fun. I mean, that sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's never a dull moment, but it's a lot of fun. And I joke around with people when they first get connected to us, and I joke about how, networking is still a contact sport. And, we all want to get behind a keyboard to do it because it's safer. But, the reality is building long-term business success, long-term community success, long-term organization success comes from building relationships and investing in time, energy, and investing in other people. So
nice. I couldn't agree more. My job is really, yeah, exactly. Well, and so tell me, where do you see like the chamber in the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, I definitely see growth, but what are some, and you were talking about technology. So I'm like, ooh, as a chamber member, tell us more.
Well, I mean, I can share with you, I don't necessarily have an exact technological ideas of where we would be in the next 5 to 10 years per se, but I can say from a vision standpoint, I touched on the word collaboration a little bit just there a second ago, and that for me is a big deal. I see us in the region as well, both within our local community, but also within the region, being a big collaborator with other organizations that are also making things happen. So first of all, within Carlsbad, there's a lot of organizations that are a huge building blocks and to a successful community, whether that be the Carlsbad Educational Foundation or the Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation that got a lot of play last Friday at our breakfast from Kelly Cardenas. But I mean, those kinds of different folks that are, and there's many others, not just those, but many others, service clubs, for instance. I mean, there are all kinds of different pieces and parts that are doing things. We as the chamber want to be collaborating with all of them, as many as we possibly can, to be making things happen, to be supporting those good things that are already happening, and to be helping grow all those activities. But then within the region, we want to be collaborators with our other neighboring chambers of commerce, with the regional EDC, with all kinds of different folks that make things happen. The Miracosta College does a great job in a lot of things. Cal State San Marcos is a phenomenal asset to our North County. Collaborating with all those different entities and organizations, the healthcare, with the developing community, the developer community, as they look to, help put more supply into our housing shortage so that we can have more affordable places to live and buy and rent. I mean, we're engaged in all of that. And so my goal is to ramp up our collaboration and grow it and continue to make an impact in the bigger region as well as in Carlsbad.
Now, Bret, do you get to actually connect with all these key organizations, or is this something that like your team does? And I'm just curious, like your job, you got a lot going on. I imagine you get to connect with only a few out of probably hundreds of businesses that you'd like to connect with.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest part of my job as leader here is working to continue to grow my my relationship capital, right? So growing that by meeting those people, engaging those people, and my challenge is to continue to grow my web of connectivity. So every week that's my mission, is to continue to expand it and to grow it, nurture what you have and grow it as best I can. So yeah, I'm constantly working on growing out there. And because I've been in this industry for over 10 years here in North County, I was blessed, when I came to Carlsbad, that I had already a certain web of connection in the North County and in the region. So that helped. I wasn't starting from scratch, but,
Sure.
I'm ever trying to grow it bigger and broader and beyond. So yeah, that's a big part of what I do is trying to meet with new people and get together and
Nice.
and continue to grow my relationship capital out there for my organization, for myself, but for the community, for this awesome chamber that I get to serve.
That's wonderful. Well, and so if a community member, business owner in the area, and they are interested in the chamber, where can they go to get more information?
So we have a really complicated website. It's carlsbad.org. Yeah. Carlsbad.org is a great place to start, and they can come find out more about who we are. They can make an inquiry about, joining. I know, and a lot of people, I get the question at times like, well, I'm a business in, San Marcos, or I'm a business in Oceanside, and can we be part of your chamber? And the answer is yes. About 25 to 30% of our members are outside the city of Carlsbad. Obviously, the vast majority of our members are within the city, but we have lots of members from neighboring communities and from the region. So yeah, and we welcome that, and we look forward to that as well. And we take our role regionally very seriously. And so yeah, Carlsbad.org. We'd love to have anybody come and check us out and become a bigger part of us.
Now, is there like a sports league where all the chambers like play against each other? Like, is there a baseball league or something like that we can watch? Or
there should be, but no, there's not. No, and just so people out there know, we do have a very collaborative
sure.
attitude in the chamber industry, because we in the chamber industry know that each individual community is going to benefit by having a strong chamber within it, and it doesn't do any of us chambers any good if a chamber, say in Poway or something, struggles and has to close its doors. I mean, we believe we want all the chambers to thrive, so we don't feel like we're competitors with our neighboring chambers. And I did, throw that little thing out at the beginning, like, hey, every business should be a member of its local community. And I'm a firm believer in that. But then if you're looking for what's the next chamber to join, it should be Carlsbad, of course.
I agree.
No, of course. I mean, I only tease about that, but I know that there's there has to be this brother sisterhood of the chambers. Like, they're gonna help out. They're, however they can direct more members in their area to join their chamber as well as potentially Carlsbad. I mean, I could see that just in the conversation we're having with you. Yeah. Not only are your characters like that, but I'm sure those who are on your team and the whole chamber organization, they're trying to say, hey, join where you can, but hey, ours is open, our doors are open as well.
For sure. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Now, is there any like cool stuff that somebody who's listening or watching, like, hey, this is something you want to be a part of this month? If you want to come out, do they get one free like attendance or one event attendance for free? How does that work?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that. If somebody's new and is like, it sounds kind of interesting, I would kind of like to test drive it a little bit. The best test drive opportunity we have is at our we call Happy Hour 2.0, which is our after hours business mixer. And for instance, this month, this month we are going to be at Full Swing Golf, which is out here in the business park, but super cool business. They actually have golf simulators, and they help people analyze their swing and all that kind of stuff in their simulation. So it's super neat. So we're going to be doing our business mixer at their place. So we're going to get up close and personal and touch their stuff and, get to play with it a little bit. But yeah, so somebody could contact us through our website and just say, hey, I'm a business. I'm not a member yet, but I'd kind of like to test drive it a little bit and try it out. And we would comp them. They could come try out the event and, get to know us a little bit. And then, we even had a couple people Friday at the breakfast that Megan and I have been talking about a little bit, where Kelly spoke. We had a couple of prospective members there. And if they don't join after that, they're probably never going to join, because that was awesome. But so, yes, we absolutely do provide opportunities for people considering joining to come test drive us a little bit, and we would welcome that from anybody who watches this podcast.
Wow. Hey, that's exciting. You know what? Thank you so much for your time, Bret. Megan, obviously for yours as well. Anything else you guys want to chat real quick before we kind of close it off?
I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to share a little bit. And let me slip in one other thing, because a lot of people don't realize, even people who've been in Carlsbad a long time sometimes don't know. One of the things that the Chamber does, one of the ways that we champion our community, is through the Carlsbad Village Fair, which is twice a year, first Sunday of May, first Sunday of November. And we bring out about 900 street fair vendors to the downtown of Carlsbad, but we bring 100,000 people to come and experience all that the cool village we have in Carlsbad has to offer. Yes. And so that's a great event. Most people don't realize that it's the Chamber that coordinates that event. And but we would encourage anybody who watches this to come join us on November, I think it's 5th, I believe, is the first Sunday of November. But come to downtown Carlsbad. Great event. It's so much fun, super family friendly. We're constantly adding new angles and aspects to it. But yeah, and I just want to thank you both for inviting me to share today and to share all the stuff that this amazing chamber does for the community.
Yeah, and I can attest, we've gone to that many times in the past. And you're right, as a resident, before I joined the chamber, I never even knew that it was a chamber organized event, had no idea. I just thought, this is awesome. I can get Christmas shopping done. I can taste all these, try all these wonderful, different food options, and buy some clothes, get my Christmas shopping done, and go for a lovely walk in the village. So it's a wonderful event. I also, can attest and encourage anyone to check it out if they haven't done so before.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a pretty big event.
Yeah.
Some good food, some good beverage, and we're going to be bringing some entertainment in. Yeah. So thank you for that shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Hey, well, thank you guys both. Really appreciate it. Anybody who's watching or listening, if you're interested, be sure to reach out, carlsbad.org. Thank you all. Have a great day, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.